Hello, thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about plant identification a little bit today. Now, I'm in a wooded area behind me, but there's a little street right in front of me and houses and everything. This is just kind of an open field. I'll pan around in a minute to show you. But before we get started, we'll talk a little bit about the importance of positively identifying plants. If you read a book, there'll be like a photograph of the plant, a common name for the plant, and a scientific name. But just because you read it in one book don't necessarily mean you need to take that to heart. You need to know all you can about that plant, how to identify it in every way, all its characteristics and the different times of year, what it looks like. It's a long journey to learn these things. But there is a lot of misinformation out there. If you go to YouTube, you may get the wrong information. That's very dangerous. I read about a book where this guy had wrote, this big book about plants. And on one of the plants, he had the scientific name, common name, and a photograph. All three of those were for different plants. 3 different plants. He was trying to describe one plant. So, there's a lot of lookalikes, very poisonous and dangerous lookalikes. When you're gathering plants, you have to be very careful of, you might be gathering a good plant, but the bad plant might be growing right there in amongst it, and if you gather the bad with the good and you don't realize it, you may poison yourself, make yourself sick. There are some plants that will kill you with one bite, so it's very important that you study it, learn it from more than one resource. You don't even have to take my word for it. Do your own research, take a class, find out what you can. I'll talk a bit more about classes at the end of the video, but stick with me and we'll start walking around and we'll see what we can find. Also, I'm only going to talk about the ones that I do 110% know what they are. Like I said, the residential area, just an open field here between the trees. You got traffic going around. Okay, so first thing we notice is wild onion. Now, it looks like wild onion and it smells like onion. You have to make sure it smells like onion. So you can use this. It could be garlic. Garlic and onion are both common in these areas, but this smells like onion. This is onion. So you can use this onion for just adding flavor to your other food. You can make a tea out of the onion, and it helps with colds and things like that. This is dead nettle. Dead nettle. Same thing though, you can add it to various things. Notice the square stem. Okay, this is dead nettle. This is henbit. They were both growing right beside each other. I reached down, I was thinking henbit, and I grabbed the dead nettle. But this is henbit right here. It also has a square stem, and you can add this to salads. You can cook it, you can eat it raw. The whole thing is edible. So notice the difference between henbit right here and dead nettle right there. The heart-shaped leaf on dead nettle. Okay, still right here in the same spot, we have, this is small, but you'll still be able to see what it is. This is mouse ear chickweed. Notice the hairs on it. Mouse ear chickweed. Now, because the hairs are on it, it's better to go ahead and cook this, and it'll turn a dark green, kind of like broccoli does when you cook it. And this kind of tastes like asparagus, some people say. I cooked me some the other day. I had lime juice and salt on it, and I really liked it. It's really good that way. You can eat this in various things, but because it's so hairy, it is better to go ahead and cook it, boil it. Let's see what else we can find. This is kind of hard to tell here, small, but this is bitter cress, and this you can eat just like it is, or you can add it to salads and you can cook it, but that's another good edible. There's some chickweed and regular chickweed here, common chickweed, but I'm going to find a spot where you can see it a little bit better. I'll get back with you when I find some. Okay, here we have a big patch of chickweed. This is chickweed. Notice a little white flower. Notice if you slightly pull it apart, there's a kind of a rubbery stem in the center. I don't know if you can see it, but between each set of leaves down the stem, there will be one straight line of fine hairs. And once it reaches the leaves, it changes direction when it transitions down the next stem. So it's kind of an alternating. And when you pull this apart, taste it, kind of reminds you of corn silk. And you can eat this just like it is, or you can add it to salads, you can cook it. You don't generally want to boil some of these plants, but other plants you do want to boil them, so you have to do your own research on that. But here's a good look at some henbit, bigger, and right there is a good patch of dead nettle. You can really see what that looks like. And then this over here, this is cleavers. It has hairs all over it, and it kind of sticks to you. You kind of feel it, kind of like Velcro. It wants to grab on. You can cook this because of the hairs. It can get hung in your throat easier, you know, just kind of be a little bit of an irritant. But if you boil it, cook it up, it's good. You can make a tea out of it. Most edible plants, or I say most, that's using the term loosely, but a lot of edible plants are also medicinal plants. Various ones have lots of different benefits, so you'll again want to do your own research to see what's what. I'll cover a few more things as we go along. Here's some dock. Dock you'll need to boil, blanch a little bit, eat it up. It's a good staple. This is the backyard, and there is all kinds of stuff growing in here. I don't like mowing the yards because there's so much good food just everywhere. So we'll go back across and in the field, and we'll see if we can find anything new. So stay with me. Now, before we get back to the field, I dug this up in the field and brought it over here and put it in a planter. This is mullein. It's furry, fuzzy, grows in a rosette. It is very medicinal. And I think the second year it has a big long tall stalk. Well, when that stalk dies, it makes good hand drill material for a fire. Dried mullein leaves you can use to make a tincture. They're good for respiratory problems. You can make a tea out of them. And if you really need to get the medicine in you quick, you can smoke the dried leaves. You can take yarrow, plantain, and mullein and make a tincture out of that, and that is an awesome medicinal for all kinds of things. I've seen it cure cold sores and within 2 days of applying the tincture on a cold sore, it's very noticeably in the healing stage. The pain goes away, everything. So we'll get across the field here and talk some more. Found some more common chickweed, a little bit younger stages. You can see the texture of the leaves a little bit better as they're young. See that? Okay, I'm sure you all know that this is white clover. You can add that to salads as well. There's some more bittercress. Some more chickweed in there. And henbit. More bittercress. Well, here's a dandelion sprout. So there's the flower. Now this flower hasn't opened up yet, but these flowers will be edible. The leaves are edible. These are all young and small, so I let them grow and get big first, but they are bitter tasting. Some people don't like them as an edible, but they are good for liver cleansing and detoxing. Dry them out, make teas, use the roots, the plant. You can eat the whole thing, use all of it, except the seed head. You don't want to put that in your mouth, but the rest of it you could. Like I said, do your own research. Here's a few flowers that have opened up. Yeah. Collect all those flowers and make teas. So as you can see, we are surrounded by free food in plenty, and you know, most of this free natural food is so much more healthy for you than anything you're going to buy at the store. You just need to know how to find it, how to use it. If you're really interested in learning this stuff, you can set up a class, go to a class, take a class from me, or you know, I'm still learning a lot, but I can bring in my friend and mentor Josh G. Hamlin. If you're really interested in learning from a plant guru, he's the man to go to. You can come to me, set up, have him come in, or you can go see him at Dove Mountain Primitive Skills or Sigma 3 Survival School. You can look him up on his blogs and YouTubes. I highly recommend checking in with Josh. And like I say, if that's too far for you to go, you can come see me. We can do some basic plant stuff, and then you know, get you started on the track, and we'll go from there. So don't be a stranger. Get out, enjoy nature, find you some good onion to put in your soups. Man, this stuff doesn't take a lot of this. This stuff has some high potency flavor right here. When I was in my 45-day wilderness survival training, I ate a lot of onion. I made teas with it. I gathered, you know, most of this stuff and cooked it up in a little can, and man, it's what kept me going. That and grasshoppers and ants and things like that I was eating. I even ate a wolf spider. But you got to cook that. Don't eat anything that you don't cook when it comes to insects. Cook them all. Except for black ants. If you get black ants from a wooded area, you can eat them right off the wood while they're still crawling. They have a zingy flavor, kind of citrusy. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I encourage you again to get out, explore nature, learn all you can about plants. And thanks for watching Earth Trekker Bushcraft Adventures. Till next time.